I want to talk just a bit about the height where we sit at the drums. There's two things I want to say about it. One is about the angle of your limbs and joints to everything. The other thing I want to say is about the height of your head relative to where the rest of the set is. We've already talked, I think, about getting the toms closer to you, and I do that by raising them up higher out of the bass drum and then giving them a little more angle toward me so that I'm not reaching any farther or higher up than I have to. This is mostly mental movement here. I can be pretty economical with how I'm moving around the set. The thing that doesn't get talked about as much, that I didn't find out till a lot later, is the idea of sitting above your cymbals so that your cymbals are below ear level so that they don't wash everything out and you can actually hear the rest of a band and the rest of what's going on in a room. With a lot of newer drummers and especially rock drummers, a lot of us are sitting too low and the cymbals are angled more toward us. The toms are angled too much away from us. They're too high. The cymbals are at face level. Makes it harder to see the rest of the band. With jazz drummers, it's more common for them to have a lot of their cymbals lower. The reason they're doing that is that their ears are above the cymbals. It's easier for them to hear the rest of the band. If you do end up playing with other people at some point, even just double drumming with another drummer, which is super fun, and it's not done enough, I would encourage you to try double drumming and just trade fours, 4-bar phrases, 8-bar phrases, trading fours, trading eights. Please try that sometime. You can have me over, I'll get on the Slingerlands, be super fun. But if you do that, or if you play with other instrumentalists, I would encourage you to give this a try where you sit just a little higher and lower your cymbals some so that your ears are above your cymbals. So a straight line from my ear goes about, let's say 8-10 inches above the bell of this cymbal. And the cymbal's at somewhat of a flatter angle to me so that I can still hit the edge of it and crash on it. So that's what I wanted to say about ear level. And then as far as body level, you want things to fall pretty much where you would drop your arm naturally to where it's parallel with the ground. I'm actually slightly below that here with the snare drum. The toms are going to be slightly above it, but you don't want it to take a ton of effort. You don't want them to be super low or super high. You want to use gravity as much as possible to play with power. You're going to do that the most effectively, I think, by putting things close to the middle or parallel of where you would naturally swing or drop your arm. And the other thing is, I say sit a little higher than you think you have to. If you can see down here, you don't want your knee above your hip. You want to be sitting with your hip slightly above your knee so that instead of being completely parallel to the floor, your thigh is just slightly above parallel to the floor. The reason for that is you don't want to restrict blood flow throughout your limbs. You want your joints to be open. And same thing is true that you don't want your foot behind your knee like that. You want your foot in front of your knee. And I would say even have just a little bit of angle between your knee and your ankle. In other words, have your ankle in front of your knee toward wherever the drum or cymbal is. So basically the idea here is just that we're not cramped, the joints are open. If a lot of people sit too low and they have everything, they have pedals too close and drums far away, and so they're slouching over all the time, they're reaching too far, it's going to give them tension in their head and their eyes and their neck. It's going to restrict their breathing. You don't want to sit with your chest and head too far back, but you want to sit with relatively straight posture and have the drums in a natural position where they're just about parallel to the floor, so that you can use gravity to drop your arm and have the drums and cymbals meet you at the pretty close to the middle of your natural swing, dropping your arm. Leave yourself slightly higher than your thigh, parallel above the floor. Have your foot slightly in front of your knee towards the drums so that your joints are open and your blood can flow. And sit slightly with your ears slightly above the cymbals. You know, cymbals are a lot of high end. They're going to hurt your ears over time. And by the way, if you're going to hit one thing hard, hit the drums harder than the cymbals. You don't have to hit cymbals as hard as you have to hit drums. That might be a topic for another video, but if you sit with your ears slightly above the cymbals, I think it'll be easier to hear other instruments if you're even playing along with a stereo or if you're playing with other musicians.